Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are completely unpacking a brilliantly simple business blueprint we recently came across. We're talking about an automated model designed to be built exactly once and then sold to pretty much any local business for $297 a month. Now, if you've ever tried to start a service agency or maybe pitch to local business owners, you know how incredibly frustrating it can be to get them to just say yes. It's tough, but today we're going to look at a system that totally flips that dynamic on its head. We're diving into the review engine. And listen, this isn't about running ads, it's not building websites, and it's definitely not social media management. It is a highly focused system that solves one very specific problem for local businesses. And honestly, the best part, it practically runs itself. So today's blueprint deconstruction is going to cover 6 core steps. We'll start with the overwhelming menu problem, move into the visibility problem, break down the 3-message system, explore the reactivation goldmine, look at the economics of $297, and finish up with the rules for scaling up. All right, Section 1, the overwhelming menu problem. Let's set the scene here by picturing a local coffee shop at, say, 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, where a pitch to a roofer is just going completely wrong. So that coffee shop pitch, it usually bombs. And it bombs because of a specific trap almost every single new agency owner falls into, the overwhelming menu. Offering a massive 9-service menu, things like logos, websites, SEO, ads, social media, it completely overwhelms clients. Their eyes just glaze over. When you slide a piece of paper across the table with 9 different things a business owner supposedly needs to do, well, a confused mind will always say no. They're going to tell you they need to think about it, and guess what? They will literally never call you back. But whereas offering just one crystal clear service, Google Reviews, actually gets a yes, you're doing the exact opposite of that overwhelming menu approach. You are offering one service to solve one problem for one price. Moving right along to Section 2, the visibility problem. Let's see how this concept builds because, honestly, understanding the local business owner's true problem changes absolutely everything. Look, most local businesses actually do fantastic work, right? But they're sitting on just 20 reviews when they really should have 300. Think about the dentist down the road, or a local med spa, or your neighborhood auto shop. They are out there delivering excellent service all week long, but Google sees practically none of it. And why is that? It's simply because the staff forgets to ask for a review, and the customer, even if they're thrilled, means to leave one but totally forgets as well. So the crucial point here is this. They don't have a quality problem. Actually, it's a visibility problem that's just pretending to be a quality problem. And let me tell you, once you explain that to a business owner, a massive light bulb goes off in their head. Which brings us to Section 3, the 3-message system. Let's look at the ingenious psychology of how this actually fixes that visibility gap. This whole shebang runs on just 3 simple text messages. There are no crazy, complicated funnels or 30-step automations required here. It is clean, it's straightforward, and the exact wording matters a lot, because small tweaks in how you ask create surprisingly huge differences in how many customers actually respond. Let's break down exactly what these 3 steps look like in the real world. Okay, this first message is an absolute stroke of genius because it's not even a review request. It starts a real, genuine human conversation instead of just begging for a favor right out of the gate. Notice how it uses the customer's first name and the business owner's first name. It doesn't sound like some spammy, mass-automated text blast. It sounds like Mike physically pulled his phone out of his pocket to make sure Sarah was happy. And you know what? Most customers will reply to this with something super simple like, "Looks great, thanks." You're just being a good business here and perfectly setting the stage for the next step. Now, what's really fascinating about the second step is how it actively protects your client. For message 2, which is the actual review link, you absolutely must send it to everyone, regardless of their reply, to stay compliant with Google's rules. They have strict policies against what's known as review gating. Review gating is basically the banned practice of cherry-picking only the happy people to leave a public review while hiding the unhappy people in a private feedback form. You can't do that. But here is the real beauty of that first check-in message we just talked about. If the customer does have an issue, say a brand new gutter is dripping, your client finds out about it immediately in a private text thread. They can rush out and fix it fast, and a customer whose problem was handled quickly and professionally, they often leave the absolute best 5-star reviews. People don't remember perfection, they remember how you handled the bump in the road. And then we hit them with the third message. This third message is just a gentle nudge that catches them at the right moment. And skipping this step is a huge mistake because it actually generates the largest share of the reviews. A lot of agency owners get totally scared to send a follow-up, thinking they're just being annoying. But think about your own life for a second. You read a text, you fully mean to reply, and then, bam, your kids need something or your boss calls, and you just forget. People aren't ignoring you, they're just insanely busy.
This system is smart enough to stop texting if they've already clicked the link. But if they haven't, this gentle follow-up is where the magic really happens.
All right, Section 4, the reactivation gold mine. Get ready, because this is where you make a business owner fall completely head over heels in love with your service. This right here is the game changer. By slowly dripping text to old invoices and past bookings, a business can jump from 23 reviews to being incredibly competitive in just a month. Look, most businesses are sitting on a massive gold mine of goodwill, people who already paid them, had a fantastic experience, and were simply never asked for a review. So you just take their existing customer list from QuickBooks or their booking software, upload it, and slowly drip those requests out. And slowly is the key word here, like 2 or 3 texts every 20 minutes during business hours. Whatever you do, don't blast out 1,500 texts at once. That looks completely unnatural to Google and will flag the account. If you have a list of, say, 500 past customers, and you convert at a pretty typical 8 to 15%, you just handed that owner 40 to 75 instant reviews. Boom, that right there is your case study, and it's exactly what makes them tell every other business owner they know about you.
And to really cement that trust and boost those Google rankings, you flip on AI auto responses. This replies to every single review within 15 minutes, completely hands-free for the owner. Why is this such a big deal? Well, first, Google's algorithm heavily favors businesses that actively respond to their reviews. It literally pushes them higher up in the search engine map pack. Second, when a potential customer is scrolling online and sees a business actively engaged and thanking people for feedback, it builds massive trust. Doing this manually is a complete chore that businesses know they should do, but let's be real, they never get around to it. Your system does it for them, instantly.
Let's talk numbers in Section 5, the economics of $297, because seeing the math proves exactly why this automated blueprint is highly profitable for everyone involved. Let's look at the client side of things first. If this review system brings in just one extra roofing job a month, that's like $5,000 in revenue for the client. Just one job. And keep in mind, once they cross that 200 review mark and start dominating their local search results, they are highly likely to get way more than just one extra job. But hey, we use conservative math here to make the pitch absolutely undeniable. Now compare that $5,000 to the $297 they pay you. The math is intentionally, ridiculously unfair in their favor, making it an absolute no-brainer for them to stick around. When they look at $297 going out and $5,000 coming in, retaining your service becomes the easiest business decision they make all month long. Plus, there's a fun psychological element here. Local business owners desperately want to look better than the guy down the street. When you give them more 5-star reviews than their fiercest competitor, there is no way they're ever turning your system off. And this right here perfectly illustrates your profit scaling, because the software platform required to run this costs a flat $297 a month. Whether you have 1 client or 100 clients, your margins absolutely skyrocket as you grow. Think about it. With 1 client, you break even on the software. With 10 clients, you're making nearly $3,000 a month in recurring revenue, but your software cost still just $297. With 50 clients, you're pulling in almost $15,000 a month, and that software cost hasn't moved a single inch. You build the system once, and you sell the exact same setup again and again. Finally, Section 6, rules for scaling up. Now that you see the incredible profit potential here, we need to cover some vital mindset rules for scaling this up successfully without totally sabotaging yourself. You absolutely must resist the urge to be the cheap option or to bundle services on day one. Look, when you're brand new, it is so tempting to charge $50 just to get a yes, or to pile on 5 other services so your offer feels more valuable to them. Do not do it. Being the cheap option is a lose-lose race to the bottom. You are installing a high-value system that buys back the business owner's time and actively grows their bottom line. You need to price it accordingly, at $200 to $300 a month minimum. And fight that urge to bundle. Sell the review engine, get them massive results, earn their complete trust, and then, and only then, does upselling a new website or an ad campaign become a super easy conversation. Now you're probably thinking, if it's so simple, why don't they just do it themselves? And it's true, they probably could. But their time is worth far, far more managing their crew and closing those $5,000 jobs than it is sitting around manually texting past customers. They've probably already tried those little tap cards or putting up a dusty "leave us a review" sign in their shop, and none of it worked. Providing peace of mind is exactly what you're selling here. When you bring them an automated system, they are deeply grateful because you've allowed them to simply stop thinking about it. So wrap your head around this blueprint for a second and ask yourself, what could happen to your agency if you stop trying to sell an overwhelming menu of services and instead commit to solving one single problem flawlessly? Imagine walking into that coffee shop pitch, not with 9 confusing options, but with one absolute certainty that guarantees results. That is where real business growth begins. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I highly encourage you to start viewing local business problems through this singular, highly focused lens.